Society's led you to believe it was okay to graduate and then spend the next 40 to 50 years of your life slaving away for a job that you hate, for a boss that couldn't care less about you, putting your goals and dreams on hold just so that one day you'll be able to retire and collect your social security and finally enjoy life and do all the things that really matter to you. You know, when you're old, sick, and exhausted. In this video, we're going to bust down all of the myths and all of the lies that society has told us about retirement. And I will also share with you what you need to start doing if you want to be able to retire early and enjoy life. Now, since it's probably the first time you and I meet, why should you listen to me? My name is Fred, and I'm an entrepreneur from a lower middle class background. I went from having only $400 to my name over 5 years ago to making upwards of $1,000 a day with my own consulting business. The thing I really want you to understand is that not every year of your life is equal. Your youth, your 20s, your 30s, it's the most precious part of your life. Because when you were a kid, sure, you were young, full of energy, but you didn't really have any money. You had no freedom, you had to obey to your parents. But now when you're an adult, you're in your 20s and your 30s, you get to make your own choices and you get to start making decent money. You're building your life. And now is the time for you to take risks and to go after what you want. Not when you're lying on your deathbed and it's too late. So when society tells you, work extremely hard in school, get a good degree, but be $300,000 in debt for that degree, and then slowly climb the corporate ladder all of your life, and if you've done everything that we told you, if you've obeyed us, then one day you'll be able to retire, collect your social security, and finally enjoy life. The problem is that plenty of studies have shown, time and again, that the incidence of chronic diseases rises sharply after the age of 65. So sure, let's say you're 70, 80, you're retired, but you probably have a lot of back pain, you're old, maybe you can't even do your favorite sport anymore because your body just can't handle it. And a lot of the people that you love, like your parents, they're probably gone already. The truth is, most people are surviving, they're not living. One day when I was a kid, I stumbled upon the following quote. Most people die at 25, but it's not until they're 80 that they're buried. Growing up in the lower middle class myself, I witnessed how accurate this statement was. I saw all the people I loved around me breaking their backs only to earn breadcrumbs, to be treated like shit, like commodities. To give you an actual example, my mother worked a very dangerous night job as a nursing assistant. I say dangerous because alongside with her other female co-workers, they had to deal with very violent patients. Thugs that got into knife fights with gangs, drug dealers, convicted felons. Not exactly the friendly type. And with only a single security guard for the entire building, because the employees were underpaid and understaffed, as you can probably guess, shit was bound to happen. Sometimes, one of the patients would get angry and start becoming verbally and physically abusive with some of the nurses. So that's the shitty job my mother had to do. All for what in return? A lack of recognition, a small pay, the dream that one day she'd be able to retire and collect her social security, which is like pennies, so that one day after working extremely hard, she'd be able to finally enjoy life when she's old and exhausted and when she's got so much back pain from having to deal with these patients. That's the dream that society sold all of us. Plenty of studies have been conducted, and what they found a lot of the time is that they went and they asked seniors in nursing homes what were their biggest regrets. And every single time, it's always the fact that they wanted to do something when they were younger, but they didn't even try, mostly out of fear of failure, out of fear of looking stupid if they failed. But now that they're old, they realize they should have gone after it, they should have tried. Now it's too late. I can't even think of a worse fate than knowing you're too old to do the things that you want. All of that because you subscribed to the lie that society tried to sell you, which was that it's okay to wait and to retire when you're old and exhausted and sick. Somebody once told me that the richest part of the world was the graveyard, and when I heard that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. How many talented poets, writers, and business owners are buried? But the thing is, they are buried with their potential. They never became that poet, or that successful artist, or that successful business owner. Why? Because they let fear and doubts hold them back. Fear kills more dreams than anything else, than any tangible obstacle. And I had to learn this the hard way myself. Over 5 years ago, when I was broke, I only had $400 to my name. I wanted to build a profitable consulting business. But at the time, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no one to guide me or to show me the way. But on top of that, on top of lacking clarity and discipline, I was just so paralyzed by fear. At the time, I was struggling with severe anxiety because of many traumatic events from my past. I couldn't even go for a walk in the neighborhood. I'm not even fucking kidding. I couldn't even leave my parents' house to go for a fucking walk. Now looking back, it just feels pathetic to even say that, but I'm being honest with you. So if I went from being this anxious kid who couldn't even leave his parents' house to making upwards of $1,000 a day, closing $1,000 deals with complete strangers, what makes you think you couldn't do the same? Now if you want to discover in detail how I went from only having $400 in my bank account to making upwards of $1,000 a day, I've recorded a free video in which I share with you everything I did step by step. That way, you can literally just copy me. The link will be in the description. Or if you're committed to starting your business and becoming financially free, you can directly book a free call with me or my team team and we'll see if we can help you. Now, if you listen to the so-called financial experts in society, they will tell you that if you want to become wealthy, you need to save your money, never buy a $5 Starbucks coffee, and then invest in a 401k and invest around $200 per month in the stock market until you retire. Because that way, if you follow their advice, you'll be able to retire at 60 or 70 with a nice pile of cash in the bank. And while of course, if you do that, if you invest over the course of years, decades, you will be wealthier on paper, absolutely. But the problem is, when you only have a small amount of money to invest in things like the stock market, it won't change the quality of your life directly. You won't even notice the difference. And if anything, it will make the quality of your life worse, because now it's $200 per month that you can't spend on other things. You need to invest them instead. And you will only really see a difference in like 30 years down the line. So it's better to do that than to do nothing, of course. But the truth is, unless you have a significant amount of money to invest in the stock market or real estate, at the bare minimum a few $100,000, you shouldn't start with investing. Investing makes sense for rich people, because if you've got a lot of cash in your bank account and you don't invest it, you're going to lose a lot of money as well because of inflation. Inflation benefits people who own assets, because with inflation, those assets, it could be stocks, it could be real estate properties, even collector items like luxury watches, those things, they gain value, making you richer as a result. But most middle class people or low income earners, they don't have any assets. And so because of inflation, because everything gets more expensive, they get screwed. And so for everyday people, life is only getting more difficult year after year, because the price of basic things doesn't stop going through the roof and your salary is barely increasing. I mean, I can tell you for a fact, growing up in a lower middle class family, every day over lunch or over dinner, I would hear my parents complaining about the price of bread, gas, electricity, clothes, everything. And the problem was, when you grow up in this kind of environment, like for my younger sister and I, it was essentially like programming us to develop a scarcity mindset, to always worry about bills and about money. But luckily for me, I always looked at things differently. And so I literally like educated my whole family to tell them, look, you can do things differently, you can make a lot of money in this world. But I was the one who took responsibility to get my family out of hell, because if I didn't, nobody else was going to do it for us. My parents didn't know what wealthy people know, and so I figured it was my job to figure out what wealthy people know so I could become successful and help my family. Not to mention that when my mother got diagnosed with cancer when I was younger, I promised her that I would always be there for my sister, no matter what happened. And so that gave me a kick in the ass, because I really thought, I need to figure this out. I can't let her down. And that's why you need to stop waiting passively for your financial situation to change. I'm not saying you can't invest. If you want to do it, do it. However, if you don't have that much money, you don't have $100,000 to invest right now, what you should do instead is to start a business, because you can directly influence how much money you make. If you follow a proven step-by-step process, you should be able to get customers, and it won't take you 30 years to start seeing results. I preach starting a business as soon as you can, in your 20s or 30s, so that you can become financially free quickly and make $10, $20, $30,000 per month or even more. I would have never been able to make upwards of $1,000 a day in my early 20s if instead I had listened to the so-called financial experts. I would still be miserable, I'd still be hopeless and broke if I had followed their advice, which was to go to university and slowly invest for the rest of my life, put my goals and dreams on hold, so that maybe one day when I'm old and sick and exhausted, finally I can go after my dreams. As we speak, there's plenty of 20-year-olds all over the world who make $10, $20, $30,000 per month and even more with online businesses. Now, to be honest with you, it took me 10 years from the moment I discovered you could actually have an online business, so work with just a laptop and a steady internet connection, to the moment I had my first $1,000 a day in sales at 21. And the reason it took me so long was for two reasons actually. The first is that I was unwilling to face my fears and to question my limiting beliefs, so that kept me stuck for a while. And the second is that I couldn't be disciplined because I lacked clarity. And the reason I lacked clarity was because I had no mentor to guide me and to show me the way. So by myself, I just didn't know what to do. It's only when I started to literally reach out to people to help me, I started to get help from mentors, that everything changed for me. Right now I can think of 3 main mentors who completely changed my life. If I hadn't gotten help from these people, I would have never been able to get to where I am today. It would have been impossible. To be honest with you, I don't even know if I would still be alive. Which is why, if you would like to get my help, you can check out the free resources in the description below. And look, you need to understand that there is something that's far more precious than money, and that's time. Most middle class people or low income earners, they put money above time. And I could see this growing up in the lower middle class myself. My mother would spend hours of her time filling out online surveys just to get free products from the grocery store. Sometimes she would call the customer support just to get a refund on the product, and it would take her like an hour. So society has told us you need to sell your time. But the problem is, when you do that, at some point you can't make more money because you only have a certain amount of time in the day. Alone you can't do everything. There's a reason why even people like Michael Jordan have coaches and they have a team. If you want to obtain a different outcome than 99% of people are getting, you need to do the opposite. So instead of thinking, how can I sell more of myself, how can I sell more of my time, you need to start thinking like a business owner. How can I provide more value to people? How can I solve a painful problems for people? And if you can do that successfully, you will make a lot of money. You'll never worry about the price of anything ever again, and you will be able to purchase anything you want. And if you want to learn more about how you can build a profitable business, on my channel you will find plenty of videos where I'm trying to do my best to help you to accomplish just that. So look, you need to make a choice now. You can keep watching YouTube videos on how to make money online, but doing that won't necessarily make you more money. Or if you're committed to starting your business so you can become financially free and get the life that you deserve, you can check out the free resources in the description below or directly book a free call with me or my team and we'll see if we can help you. That being said, if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend, and together let's blow up this YouTube channel to empower ambitious individuals across the globe to become financially free.